So picking up from the end of the previous chapter, we saw Qin like toss Ares like he was nothing, and this is a hilarious sequence. And I'm a big fan of Hermes and Ares, and I always like the situations that they get into. And Ares, like, unfortunately keeps jobbing to people in this series. But aside from the comedic relief that this sequence applies, it's also pretty much establishing what Qin Shi Huang's style is. And it's basically like Tai Chi, I guess. I'll go more into it once it's fully revealed. But we can see that the fundamental of what he's doing is using like your momentum against you. It's also pretty interesting how Hermes is behaving in this sequence when we see him like just willingly serving Qin mead here. But it's pretty interesting that this sequence is so specific in its paneling. Like, it's showing us it being poured by Hermes and we're seeing him drink it, and Hermes being really cordial. Now, either there's like some kind of historical parallels and significance here that the writers are trying to play with, or there's more to this sequence than what we're seeing. Now, I'm not immediately going to Hermes is poisoning him or doing something to hinder his power in any way, but I'm not saying that that's off the table. Or this sequence just means nothing and they just decided to panel it in this interesting way. It's even possible that maybe Hades had some kind of collusion with Hermes that the audience isn't aware of. But anyway, Brune comes in and tells Qin that he's going to be fighting in the next round against Hades of all people. So we're cutting through the arena and then we're getting Qin's entrance here, which is, in my opinion, one of the best so far. Like, first of all, he's coming from like the god's stands, which is awesome, especially since he seems to be the human that has acted the most like a god so far. And I say act because Adam was clearly the closest to a god. I mean, he basically was one, and Raiden wasn't too far off from him either. Then we're getting his backstory, and he essentially united China back when it was like difficult to do that, or maybe no one thought it could be done, and he was like the first real emperor. I'm not really too familiar with this guy. The most that I know about him was when I saw The Mummy 3 when I was like a kid. Jet Li plays Qin Shi Huang in that movie, and it also kind of gave me some insight into what his main abilities are going to be in this fight, and I'll talk about that later. Then we're getting introduced to his Valkyrie, which is Alvider. Now, Alvider seems to be like the echo sister of Hlok, or whatever her name was, the one who teamed up with Jack. We actually see them in this chapter. But anyway, the Sigma Emperor Qin here instantly busts through Alvider's tsundere shell, and we're getting his Volund reveal, which is the almighty Spolders. I gotta say, this is pretty aesthetic. So then we're seeing Hades making his way to the arena, and it's not that spectacular. He's kind of just doing the Goldberg thing from WWE, but then randomly Proteus is coming out of nowhere. This guy is like the Alfred of Poseidon, I guess, and he has Poseidon's broken trident. And he's like, Hades, please avenge Poseidon. And Hades is like, come on, bruh. We know that Poseidon don't want no one avenging him, but I am his older brother, so I guess I gotta do it anyway. So then he takes the broken trident and fuses it with his bident, and we're getting a pretty awesome new weapon here. This actually looks like what Hades should just inherently have. But Hades comes out here, and like I said, he just has this bare bones entrance, and I really like it. So as Heimdall begins the fight, we're seeing like panels of the Watchers, and one of them is Nostradamus. Now, in the previous review, when he was introduced, I thought that the writers would have been saving this guy for the penultimate fight, like how they said, but now that we're seeing him again here, it's changed my mind, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be fighting in the next round. The writers of this series, there's two of them, by the way, I forget their names, but they seem to be kind of impatient with their writing process here. Also, we're seeing Odin observe here. It seems like he's being set up as maybe the true big bad of this series and not Hades, but we're going right into the fight, and it seems like Hades has a similar style to Poseidon, or at least just his physical or weapons-based style. If you're familiar with boxing, they kind of fight like how the top boxers fight. It's not very exciting, but it's super efficient and methodical and extremely hard to defeat if you yourself are not as talented as the person performing it or are just not doing it yourself. And I thought that this fight was going to wrap up in like one chapter or something. I do think that there's going to be at least one fight in this series that is quick, like 1 chapter quick. But of course, it's not gonna be this one. And I thought, you know, maybe setting up Hades that way would have been pretty cool, but no, it's not gonna be this one. But like I said, I do think it's coming eventually. We are gonna get that 1 chapter fight that's going to spark like a crazy reaction from the characters in the series, but also the audience. But we're coming to the first named attack from Hades here, the Hammer of the Netherworld, and this cleanly hits Qin. Like, he's busted open and everything. But Hades is just keeping the aggression and goes on to hit him with another named move, the Breaker of Storms. But it's right here where Qin is going to reveal what he was doing, because he deflects this crazy powerful move in a really cool sequence. I love how they illustrated this, because it's perfectly exemplifying how he's moving and using Hades' momentum against him. And like I said, this is essentially based on Tai Chi, I guess, the same way that the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist is based on in One Punch Man, if you're familiar with that. They're kind of doing the same type of fantastical battle manga Tai Chi thing. But this like seriously affects Hades, like to the point of where he's getting a reaction out of him. And it's shocking everyone, of course, and we're coming to the final panel where Qin Shi Huang's like, there can only be one king in the world, and that man is I. So what I'm thinking is going to happen here is Qin is for sure going to die. And I think maybe his characterization here is maybe a way to lessen the blow, because he is very likable, but not everybody's gonna make it in this series, of course. And if we had to watch Raiden get his head kicked off, then I wouldn't be surprised if Hades is gonna straight up disembowel this guy. And also Hades kind of has to win, at least for the narrative, and I think him defeating Qin Shi Huang in an impressive fashion is probably going to be the reason why Nostradamus has to fight in the next round, maybe. But first, this video is sponsored by the Listen But Don't podcast. Here's a clip from the show.
There it is. But you never, the Temptations, they made My Girl. My Girl. My Girl.
Okay, I know that song. Yeah.
My Girl.
My girl.
Talking
about my girl.
Damn. My Girl. Yeah, there you go.
My girl.
There you go.
Yeah, I know who they are. What?
All right.
What
yeah.
about them?
It's the movie about they're
okay.
they're basically the soul of Motown.
Okay.
Before Michael Jackson.
Okay.
They're Diane Ross. You know who Diane Ross is?
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Well, sing one of her songs.
Diane Ross?
Yeah.
You know, she's such a great artist. I honestly can't even
sing
pick
one of her songs.
Okay, I'll pick one. He was a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy." Man. I don't know. I don't know her songs.
So thank you to the Listen But Don't podcast for sponsoring this video. If you like what you heard, please check them out. The link is in the description. But going back to what I said in the beginning about Jet Li and the Mummy 3, well, Qin Shi Huang in that movie had like army powers. He could like summon like pseudo zombie army thing. And that's like one of the legends of Hades too. Like he has like an ability like that, which means that, you know, this is probably gonna come down to both of them like firing their undead armies at each other, or maybe one will be undead. Maybe Qin Shi Huang is like, I don't know, ghost, spiritual. But yeah, let me know what you think about this chapter in the comments. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.